All right. Welcome, everyone, to today's podcast. Today we're talking about winning the first week of 2024. We're in it now, right? It's Tuesday. It's officially here. And what a lot of people are probably experiencing is that as much as they wanted this week to be perfect and then just be right back on their routine, they're probably struggling already, even though we're kind of in the first official day of being back in your normal situations. So how do you win the first week of 2024? Well, we'll go over some strategies to do that in a second, but I think the first thing you got to do is you have got to reframe what winning the first week of 2024 means. Okay. In my world, it doesn't mean you're going to be perfect. I rarely am able to see someone who's been off track for 3-4 weeks with their eating, with alcohol, with their lifestyle, all of a sudden just be able to pop on a turn of a dime, just be perfect. I can't do it. A lot of my clients can't do it. If you can do it, great. You probably wouldn't be watching this or listening to this if you could. So what we want to do is think of the first week of January as a re-entry week. Okay, where we're not looking to be perfect. We're looking to move ourselves kind of like a bridge from holiday mode to back on track mode. And we can give ourselves a week or even two, gasp, to do that. Okay, it doesn't have to happen all of a sudden in one day. And I think when you set things up this way, you set yourself up for success, because I think that this expectation is much more in line with reality. And again, it's easier to get re-enter and kind of get back on track gradually for most people than it is to just flip on a dime and just be perfect all of a sudden. Okay, because the chances are that after the holiday season, you're physically, mentally, emotionally, maybe even spiritually depleted, right? It may have been fun for you, but even if even if you enjoy the holidays, you have to agree it's still somewhat stressful, because there's just a lot of responsibilities. There's a lot of extra eating, drinking, things we have to do. And so it's tiring. And so for a lot of people, they're stepping into Tuesday here and they're feeling tired. They're feeling depleted, which is completely and totally normal and natural. But if in your mind you think you're going to be perfect today, feeling depleted, and then you're not perfect, now you feel like I blew the whole year already, then you're setting yourself up for failure. So we want to recognize that. And instead, we want to realize there's no rush. So what? So what if I don't get completely back on track until next week or the week after? It's not going to matter next year at this time if it took you a week or 2 weeks to get back on track. And that being said, if we set our expectations properly, I think we set ourselves up for success. So what does winning this week mean? Well, it's relative to where you're at. And so where you want to be is, again, you want to move yourself 25, 50, 75% back to where you typically are at. Okay, so we know how the holiday mode is, we know how vacation mode is, and now you're kind of creating that bridge. And what that looks like is maybe your eating's not going to be perfect, but you're really focusing on getting the good foods into your body. So it's not so much a focus, I have to stop eating calories, I have to stop eating sugar, I have to stop eating carbs, as much as it is, I want to start getting some fruit in my body, I want to get some healthy foods, whatever you consider to be your healthiest foods, I want to start getting those in my body. And, I want to start cutting down some of the unhealthy stuff, but it doesn't have to be completely. I can tell you I've been eating cookies for the last 3 weeks straight. It's hard for me just to completely cut out sweets just on a dime. And so I'm not trying to do that. What I'm looking to do is I'm looking to cut it down. Okay. In service of in another week or two, I'll be right back down to where I was. Okay. So again, it's this gradual understanding where you take this week, maybe next week, and it becomes a stepping stone. It becomes kind of that bridge to get back to where you want to be. So you're giving yourself a little bit more time. Now, in addition to food, focusing on food, eating more healthy stuff, beginning to replace the unhealthy stuff, we really want to focus on lifestyle. And this is a lesson that's so important, because when we get depleted in life, whether it's obvious because of vacations, holidays, whether something just happens to us, life situations happen to us, in those situations, it's not just about weight and food. We really want to focus on lifestyle behaviors. So as a reentry week, what I'm really focusing on is making sure that I get a lot of sleep, get my water back to where it was, my meditation, my relaxation, getting walking again, and doing a lot of the lifestyle things that signal to my mind and my body that we're back on track. Okay. So again, what it really comes down to, though, is reframing this week, not of one where you're starting perfect on yesterday or today, but instead one where you start the process of getting back to being where you want to be. And I think when you give yourself that little extra time to recover, to replenish yourself, and to get yourself back, you're going to appreciate it, because it feels a lot better. And I think you're going to find you get much better results with that. So give that some thought, and I hope this helps you out. If anyone has any questions, feel free to ask them. I can get into it. Any weight loss questions you may have, feel free to ask them. Because Oh, here we are. Hey, Paula. Hi, Jim. I did not get my morning email and not my daily email. Okay, let me look at next. I saw you just joined the program yesterday. Congratulations. You'll get an email. We have our call tonight, and well, you wouldn't know this, but I switched the call up. It used to be at 3 p.m. Eastern. Now it's at 6 p.m. Eastern. You'll get that information as soon as this call's over, and I will double check. That's I don't know why you didn't get that, but I will look into that. Let me write myself a little note. Email. We'll get that straight. That happens sometimes. Sometimes just little glitches in the email system, but we'll get that fixed quick for you. And welcome to the program. Great job. This is going to be a great year for you, and I can't wait to meet you and work with you. Astor says, hi, Jim. I've decided to stay on the program. Okay, cool. I'll reach out to you. So I'm glad to hear that, So I love working with Astrid. Astrid's one of my faves. And Paula, you'll get to meet Astrid. I guess she's going to stay in the program. So that's really exciting. So yeah, shoot me a message how you want to do that, and we will work that. Yeah, Paul, you should be excited. It's going to be, oh man, I don't want to toot my own horn, but this program I think is going to knock your socks off, and I'm super excited. Yeah, so I can't wait. And yeah, once you get your emails though, damn, I don't know why that didn't happen. You should have got them today because I know you signed up yesterday. Did you get in the app? Did you get in the app? That'll kind of help me diagnose it a little bit, but we'll figure it out. So yeah, where are we at, right? So we're talking, it's what, January 2nd. How to control insulin resistance. All right, that's a great question. And I love that question because we live in a funny society. Oh, you did get in the app. Okay, great. Okay, so at least you got something. You have some stuff to do. You got plenty of stuff to do, right? But we'll get you the emails because that's a huge part of it. So how to control insulin resistance. Let's talk about this because this is really important. Again, we live in a funny society where there is so much, there's so many people with type 2 diabetes and pre-diabetic, and yet I find a lot of people really have a very limited understanding of what that means. Conceptually, there's not a real systemic understanding of what's going on there. So let's just talk about that because the more you understand, the more you can. A lot of people want to stop eating certain foods. They say, I'm going to not eat the ice cream because I don't want to gain weight. I want to lose weight. I want to gain weight. And it's like, it's all about the weight. The more you can make this about the system of you, who you are as a being, right? Because you are, boy, what you're putting in your mouth probably has the biggest impact, on who you are as a person. And so the way we really start to understand is around the systems of our body. So what happens, right? What's insulin? Again, some of you already know this, but let's just go through it. So when we eat food, it all breaks down to glucose ultimately, right? And so glucose is your blood sugar. And so the glucose goes in our blood, but if we get too much glucose in our blood, it becomes inflammatory and can ultimately be toxic. And so when we get high levels of glucose, right, so we eat a bag of M&Ms, our glucose skyrockets very quickly. And what happens is our pancreas releases insulin, and the insulin goes into the blood. And you can think of it like insulin is like a key. And it unlocks the cells, it unlocks the cell doors and pushes the glucose out of the blood into the cells, okay? And so what happens though, understand this, is that spiking our glucose levels is completely unnatural, right? If I dropped you off in the woods and said, go spike your glucose levels, you ain't spiking those glucose levels. You can't do it, right? Unless you maybe run into a beehive or a fruit patch. But it's very unnatural. And so the reason we're so easily able to spike our glucose levels this day and age is because we have all this processed food around us. We have a lot of sugar, we have a lot of flour, and a lot of processed foods that we absorb very quickly. Think about it. Flour and sugar specifically are ground down into powders. And so powders are absorbed very quickly, okay? And so that is what leads to very quick spikes of glucose. Now, our body's not very good at managing these because, again, it's unnatural. And so a lot of times what happens is our body will overproduce insulin, put it into the blood, and now we wipe out a lot of the glucose. Now we feel tired and lethargic and hungry. And now we eat again, eat the wrong stuff, spike the glucose, spike the insulin, right? We go back and forth with this. And so eventually what happens from doing this is like most things in our bodies is our cells create a tolerance to the insulin. And now the key has gotten worn, and so it doesn't unlock the door as well. And so now what happens, this is what insulin resistance is. And so if we keep eating the same way, if we keep spiking blood sugar levels, we become insulin resistant. So how do you deal with insulin resistance? How do you control insulin resistance? Well, the real thing is, how do you control glucose spikes? Okay. And so this is where you start to add a lot more context to how you're eating, right? Because, really what's affecting your body is the tsunami effect of the glucose and the insulin, because both of them are inflammatory and toxic at a high levels. Okay. So it's not so much that our body can't handle this once in a while or a little bit at a time. It's that when we eat flour, when we eat sugar, it's a huge spike of glucose that goes into our body. And so now what happens is, just like a tsunami, if you get a foot of rain over a week, the facilities can handle it. You get a foot of rain in an hour, it overwhelms the systems, you see? And so that's a lot of times what we're doing to our bodies when we're spiking our glucose levels, is we're overwhelming the system. So when you're pre-diabetic, when you're actually diagnosed as a type 2 diabetic, really what you're looking to do is you're looking to control the glucose levels of your blood. And so you do that primarily through the foods you choose to eat. Okay. So again, you probably know this, but when you start to find low glycemic index foods, right, that is a good diet for everybody, right? Because we don't want spikes of glucose all the time. And occasionally it's fine, but we don't want to be spiking our glucose levels and then spiking our insulin levels 5, 6, 7 times a day, which is what I used to do, what a lot of people do. It's easy, right? I mean, we got breakfast, then we got a snack between breakfast and lunch, then we got lunch, then we got lunch between dinner, a snack there, then we got dinner, then we got dessert, and we're eating all night. And so it's easy to do it, if we're eating processed foods, flour, sugar. So again, what I would suggest, the simplest approach to start managing your insulin resistance is to start managing the foods that you're eating, and to start eating more whole, natural foods. Because again, understand, even with flour, with sugar, even if you're like chewing on sugar cane, Rita, this is live. If you're chewing on sugar cane, right, even that is not as processed, so it's not absorbed as quickly. People don't think this. You think you tap on like a sugar cane and out comes the sugar we eat. It's not. It's super duper processed. And that processing basically removes a lot of the outer shell that slows down the absorption. Okay. So again, what I think you want to do is you really want to focus on changing the foods that you're eating and beginning to gear it more towards natural whole foods. That is how you manage your insulin and your glucose. And it makes you feel a lot better. All right. How about cold pressed juices? To be honest, I don't really recommend juices really that much anymore. I've gone through my juicing phase. I've drank juices growing up. Yeah, even celery, cucumber juices, not what I would recommend ideally. Now, again, let me make clear, everything's relative. Okay, so it's like if you're eating, if you only eat McDonald's and, convenience store food and all the rest of it, moving over to juicing will be wonderful. Okay. But again, ideally, what's happening with juicing is, again, we're getting rid of all the fiber. And it's my belief that fiber is the number one thing missing from the American diet, like insoluble fiber. And if you think about how we lived in a natural environment for all these years, we were eating so much fiber. And I can tell you personally, this is a little anecdotal, but there's a lot of science behind it, is that, so this person says, I've lost 17 pounds in 8 months. I'm assuming maybe you're saying that because you've been juicing, So again, I don't know what you're eating before. That's what I was trying to make clear. Everything is relative. Okay, so there is no like one right answer. There's answers that depend on your situation. So if you were eating a standard American diet, the SAD diet, and all of a sudden you move over to juicing, you're probably going to notice a lot of positive health impacts. Okay, so again, that's why I don't like to say, like we can't say, there's no absolutes. There is, okay, they said not juicing, just less meals and started Pilates. Yeah, okay, great, super job. I think that's great. I again, so juicing, is it good or bad? Well, it depends where you're at. I don't think it's ideal, because I think the ideal is that you want to eat things in a natural form. And if you remove all the fiber from it, it's not a natural form, and then if you start juicing fruits, watch out, because now you're just, pounding sugars. All right. So be careful of that. Wanted to know if adding juices would improve. I wouldn't add juices. Again, I'm not against it, right? And I did smoothies for years, but even smoothies, that's my hierarchy of healthy foods. Let's put it that way, right? So again, if you're eating a lot of McDonald's and fast foods and processed foods, yeah, go start juicing. You know what I mean? But if we're talking about healthy foods, I put kind of juicing over here. It's probably the least healthy out of the three I'm going to say, because again, you're stripping out the fiber of it. Then there's smoothies, right, where you're taking like the cucumbers, celery in there, and you're just blending it up. So the fiber's still in there, but it has been, kind of, blended up. So that's kind of second. And then ideally where I'm at and where I like to be as much as I can is I eat a lot of salad, and so salads, it's the cucumber, it's the celery in its natural form. Because I am telling you all, please hear this and test this out. The biggest shift in my whole diet, and I went from being a crazy big meat eater to being a vegetarian. But the bigger shift than that was when I started adding a lot more fiber into my diet. Insoluble natural fiber in natural forms, not Metamucil, not different powders. I'm talking about more beans, more vegetables, more fruit. And as I've added more of those into my diet, what happens is fiber, at one point they said fiber's not even a nutrient. Your body doesn't absorb it. It doesn't matter. And the number one ingredient missing from the standard American diet is fiber because it does not process well, right? So fiber has been stripped from a lot of processed foods. Fiber is what we need, though, because what happens is you start filling your intestines up with fiber that you don't absorb, but it stays there, and you have gut bacteria, right? Your microbiome, if you don't know anything about this. And so your microbiome, like those foods, that fiber is like superfood for a healthy microbiome. And what happens is it feeds a healthy microbiome, which is really helpful, and that fiber stays in your gut. Think about this, right? If you eat a meal of pretzels and crackers, that goes into your body. It's all powder. You know what I mean? So it absorbs quickly. There's not a lot going into your gut. When you eat a lot of vegetables or a big salad, there's a lot of fiber going into your gut, making you feel full a lot longer. You have a thing called the ileal and the colon brake within your intestines, and it's a braking system. It's chemical, but it's a braking system that sends your brain a signal. We're satisfied. We're full. Okay, so if your intestines are kind of empty because you're eating a lot of powders, as opposed to when you eat a lot of, natural whole foods, the difference in how satisfied you feel is night and day. So that's something I recommend to everyone. Protein and fiber are probably the two things that will give you the most satisfaction, the most satiety, Heidi says, you always pop up on my For You page before I go to bed. That's funny. Is that good or bad? I don't know. Some people like that, right? I love when people tell me, they're like, I was in the grocery store, I was about to do this, and I saw one of your videos, and I didn't get it. And it's like, that's cool. Because that's where I'm at. That's what I do with people is I'm always working on their mindset, so I'm not looking to rah you up and just get you, I'm not going to do that. I want to change the way you're thinking. So you're like, I don't want that. That's the big difference, if I had to put it into like a real simple way to explain it, It's good. Hypnotizing. I literally did jump out of the bed this morning. My dream body. All right. Nice job. Yeah. That's a fun part. In the program, we call it the Program Yourself Then technique. It's really, it's a 1-2 minute hypnosis technique you use, and it's the redo and rehearsal technique. And that is, the rehearsal technique is kind of what you're referring to, where we imagine tomorrow as the person we want to be. And it's so important to do that because we live our lives on autopilot. If you notice, you wake up in the morning, you kind of do what you always do, and you kind of just do it. And so much of your behavior is environmentally dictated. Hey, from South Africa, how you doing? I don't know. I don't want to ruin your name. Elreen. So much of our behavior is environmentally dictated, where we're in certain situations and we become kind of a certain version of ourselves, and then we behave out of that version. So if you look at your eating habits, you're going to notice that your worst eating habits are happening at the same times a day, in the same places, with the same people or without the same when you're alone. There's very specific things going on. Your eating is not all completely random, although you may think it is. It's not. It's very pattern oriented. And so the redo rehearsal technique is such a powerful way to reprogram your mind to become the thin, healthy person you want to be. And so that rehearsal technique is really, really powerful. But that's awesome. You're doing it, and it worked for you. Rita says, what's your opinion on berberine supplements? Pilates was a life changer. Yeah, yoga was a life changer for me. I think anything you take up that's this is why I always make the distinction between exercise and movement. I think anything where you start moving your body and anything where you're moving your body in a way where you're bringing your attention inwards, I think is going to benefit you in a lot of ways, because it helps you develop awareness, helps you become more sensitive to your own body, how you feel. And I think that that obviously is going to support you, in a lot of ways. So yeah, my opinion on berberine supplements. I don't even know what berberine supplements are. I am not a big supplement guy. So I will say that. I'm going to look berberine up now, because I learn a lot of stuff as I do these lives, the newest thing. Berberine, what's it do? The function of it. Healthy blood sugar, cholesterol, and triglyceride levels. Nah. I mean, come on. I don't look at that. So again, I'm not trying to judge anything here, but there's no pill, there's no berry from the Amazon, there's no tea leaves from, the hills of Nepal that is going to change your weight or all that stuff. There's just no way. And just like there's no diet that's just going to change your weight, I think you need to start looking at things in a holistic, comprehensive way. And I think, to put it another way, I think the diet industry has conditioned us to always look for shortcuts, quick fixes. And we know now you can literally spend your entire life chasing quick fixes and shortcuts, only to end up with no answer ever. And so my message every day, I remind people of this, is to just dedicate yourself to mastering this. If you dedicate yourself to mastering your weight one time, then you're done with it. And you can move on to other things in your life. You see? Which is why I always tell people, understand this distinction. As a dieter, you're obsessed with losing weight. You think getting to your goal weight that's the goal, right? That's the finish line. It's not. You don't just want to lose weight. You want to live at your goal weight for the rest of your life on near autopilot. Okay? So that's the big difference. And that difference is crucial, because if you just think that losing weight is the goal, what do you think you're going to do once you've lost the weight? You put it back on, which is what, again, statistically, they say 82 to 95% of people put the weight back on after they lost it. So I think we need a reframe right from the beginning that this isn't about losing weight. This is about getting to my goal weight and then living at my goal weight for the rest of my life on near autopilot. Every word of that message is important. And if you write that down and you put that against your weight loss goal, you're quickly going to realize how superior this goal is, because this is really what you want. It's a more accurate description of what you want. And ironically, the strategy to lose weight versus the strategy to get to your goal weight and live the rest of your life at your goal weight on near autopilot are two completely different strategies. And the interesting thing is that weight mastery is a lot easier than weight loss, because every time you're just focused on losing the weight, you get in this mindset, I just want to do as quick as possible. And you choose the most extreme things. You're trying to overcorrect too fast. And it's a struggle. And so it's really important. Astrid, you're your home trainer. Wow, look at you, Astrid. Always improving, right? That's awesome. That's awesome, Astrid. So we want to master our weight. Don't sell yourself short. Wanting to lose weight's a shitty goal. It's an impoverished, shitty goal. I'm here to tell you. This is why. If your only goal this year is I just want to lose weight, you're going to be in trouble. Catch me next year then, because that's not what you want. You've got to stop saying that. You've got to stop saying, I just want to lose weight, because it's not true. You've lost weight in the past, then you put it back on. Are you happy you lost the weight? Or are you mad that you put it back on? Okay, I'll let you answer that question. So you got to learn from that. That's the big problem with dieters, is they're trapped. They can't look and say, this shit ain't working. I got to change and do something else. It's like, this shit ain't working, so I'm going to do it again. How many times you try to start your keto plan, right? How many times you're doing friggin' Weight Watchers? Dieters love doing shit that doesn't work. They love it. I'm joking. I know you don't love it, but you're trapped. You know what I mean? You don't know any other way to think. So that's why I do these every day, just to kind of, show you another way, show you a different way to do it. Ms. Anki says, track food, yay or nay? It's up to you. Again, there's a million ways to lose weight. There's 8 billion people on the planet. You figure out what works for you. I would never say, oh yes, track food, don't track food. It's up to you. I've done over 5,000 private weight loss sessions. So, listen, some people love tracking food. They're like that. They're very like, I want to track everything. Most people I have found, in my experience, me included, don't want to track food. Don't want to micromanage it. So again, I say it's up to you to do it. I will say, me personally, like I don't teach that because I teach a more intuitive, automated. Again, what do I say? I want you to live at your goal weight on near autopilot. So counting calories every day, tracking food all the time is not near autopilot. So I look to get someone where they can be on near autopilot. Now, that being said, I think tracking your food at some point is really important. I think you should use it as a calibration tool, though, right? You have some sense of what you're eating, how much you're eating, and it's probably wrong, just to be honest. So if you track your food, if you track what you're doing, what happens, if you just do it for a week or so even, you get a much clearer idea of how accurate were you, right? If you were right on money, great. You know, if you weren't, if you were way off, great, because now you realize something that was wrong, right? So there's nothing worse. Oh boy, my clients, there's nothing worse, I think, than people like, I'm doing everything right, I'm not losing any weight. And it's like, I doubt it. You know, just to be honest, right? We all got human bodies, and if you cut down the calories that are going in it, over time, you're going to lose weight. That's kind of how that works. Now, in the short term, it's always, you know, people lose weight at different speeds. But over time, if you reduce calories, you're going to reduce your weight, you know? So again, there's a lot of people out there that think they're eating less than they actually are. And that's a very dangerous place to be because you could create the belief that no matter what I do, I can't lose weight. And that is almost never the case, you know? So again, that's kind of my long-winded answer on that question. Lolo says, just joined. So what should we say instead of I want to lose weight? Yeah, say I want to get to my goal weight and I want to live the rest of my life at my goal weight on near autopilot. Right? And I know it's a mouthful, but the point of it is that it extends our thinking. Because if I ask you the question, how long do you want to lose the weight for? Right? You're saying forever. Right? I know you want to lose it forever. I know there's no one in the world says I want to lose the weight and then put it back on 2 months later. No one in the world says that. No one in the world wants that. However, everyone's getting that, right? I mean, everyone, you know, you've lost weight and you keep putting it on. You can't keep it off. Your problem's not the weight loss piece as much as it is the maintenance piece. And now you're at the point where you've lost the weight and put it on 3, 4, 5 times in a dramatic fashion that now you can't even get started with a plan because in the back of your mind, you're like, what's the fucking point? I'm just going to put the weight back on anyways. And now you're apathetic. You think about weight loss 24 hours a day and you're not doing anything to actually lose it. And I'm telling you, this is the beginning part of it because the diet industry has caused you to think about weight loss as a short-term thing. You think of, I'm gonna diet until I lose the weight. Right in that languaging is the clue that you're thinking as a temporary thing. As soon as you think of it as a temporary thing, the next thing goes, well, shit, if it's just temporary, let's get it over as quick as possible. I just want to lose as fast as I can. And now you look for the most extreme thing, cutting out all the carbs, cutting out all the sugar, 1,200 calories, not eating for 16 hours, right? You do the extreme thing. I'm going to do this until I lose the weight. It's temporary, so I can do something extreme for a little while. And then what happens? You usually don't even get to the goal anyways. But even if you do, you've never once set in your mind, how am I going to live at my goal weight? Which is a completely different question, you know? And by the way, what that whole mindset that I just described does is it makes you think about your weight loss like it's a sprint. And if you think about a sprint as a race, if you're running a sprint and you trip a little bit, you've lost the race, right? The only thing that wins a race, a sprint, is absolute perfection, right? You need to be perfect from the starting gun to the finish line. And if you trip up a little bit, catastrophic, you lost. Now, if you're in a marathon, you trip a little bit, you can make up for it because it's a longer time, okay? So even this part of the mindset's crucial because the idea that you are going to start your diet on day one being perfect, no carbs, 1,200 calories, no sugar, whatever your thing is, right? The idea that you're going to start on day one and be perfect until you reach your goal weight is almost impossible. And so what happens when you make a mistake with your eating, right? I was doing so good for 3 days and I ate a cookie. What happens? It feels catastrophic. Now you blow yourself right out of the path. Has this not happened to you? Right? And you don't know why, right? You don't know why. You're flummoxed by why your motivation is kind of here today and gone tomorrow. And it's like, oh, shit. Well, how do I motivate myself? But what you don't realize is your motivational foundation is made out of quicksand. You have no motivation. You have no foundation motivationally. What you have is you have the diet industry. You've been brainwashed by the diet industry. We all have. I've just learned how to unbrainwash myself from it. But you right now, the main reason you're struggling with your weight is you are trapped mentally in a diet mindset. You have the mindset of a dieter. You got two mindsets, actually. You got the overweight mindset and you got a diet mindset. And the best case scenario is you diet yourself down to your goal weight, but you still get the same problem because you can't keep dieting and you don't want to be overweight again. But what happens? You go back to reverting back to thinking like an overweight person, and then you go back to dieting. Then you go back to thinking like an overweight person. Never once in that scenario do you ever work to develop a thin and healthy mindset. And your mindset is the number one thing impacting your weight. So how are you going to succeed with your weight? If you're serious about your weight, which you're not that much anymore, don't get mad at me. Don't get mad. I was just thinking about this today. You know, it's like, it's not your fault, but I mean, like you've been trying to lose weight for decades now by dieting. And so now you associate dieting, weight loss with failure. There's no, in your mind, you can't imagine ever living at your goal weight on your autopilot. The words almost don't even mean anything. You know, you've just internalized this forever struggle, this forever failure. And you're in this trap where you just think about it constantly, but nothing ever happens, you know? And so, you know, what happens is, you know, when you start doing your weight loss, it's the spontaneous pain-based event. Right? When you start your weight loss, it's because you step on the scale, you can't believe how much it is. You see a picture of yourself, you can't believe how big you are. You see your reflection, you get really upset. Your clothes you were wearing, swore would always fit, they don't fit now. Now you're really upset. You gotta go to the doctor. Someone says something shitty to you. Something painful, negative happens. You get really upset about it, and you say, "That's it. I'm gonna do it this time. Time to start my keto plan. Time to join Weight Watchers again. Time to cut all the tomorrow. I'm gonna fast tomorrow. Now I'm not gonna eat." Okay? Whatever extreme thing you choose to do, you do it. And you do it for a couple days, and then you go back to what you always do. And that's the cycle you're trapped in, right? And so what has to change? Well, it's not the plan. There's no diet coming down the pike that's going to help you. Even the Ozempic shit, again, it's a Band-Aid on a gunshot wound. It's not going to fix the core problem. The core problem is you think like an overweight person. Is it any wonder? We live in an obesogenic society. Right? You've been conditioned to be overweight since you were born through food commercials, through the culture, you know, but you have never learned how to deal with that. See, we've got primitive biology, right? Think about this, right? We evolved over millions of years in a food scarce environment. So all of our neurology, all of our biology, all of our biochemistry, our nervous system, everything is geared towards eating when you got food in front of you. You know what I mean? It's like, you're an eating machine. Remember in Jaws, they're like, oh, it's a machine. It eats and it makes little babies, swims and makes babies. Well, that's what we do. You know what I mean? We eat and we make babies and we just keep going. That's what we did for millions of years. You know, we eat, we stay warm, we make babies. That's it. Okay? So here we are now in the modern world, and it ain't food scarce anymore for most of us. Thank God, right? It's better than the alternative. But now we got a new problem ahead of us, right? So now instead of dying from starvation, we're dying from overeating. That's the number one cause of preventable death right now, as I talk to you, is overeating related deaths. So we've gone from one cause of death, which is starving to death, to now overeating to death. That's the main cause of preventable death. Imagine this. And I tell you this, as someone who's personal to me, my dad died at 54 of a heart attack. And I was thinking that today, I don't know, I never thought of this, but I'm like, this guy, Jesus, he had gout, he used to have kidney stones, he had all sorts of these physical issues. I mean, it wasn't just the heart attack at the end that got him. I mean, there was a slow decline in health even before that, you know, for no reason. I always said my dad had a fucking twin. My dad had a twin who lived another 30 years longer. You know, there was no need for it. And so here we are, 2024, and we're eating ourselves to death. Why? We don't want to. All you do is think about losing weight, so why are you doing it? Because you have this old evolutionary biology, psychology, biochemistry, biology that is triggering you to overeat every time you have these foods in you. And what you have not done is you have not upgraded your software. You've not upgraded your software, how you're approaching all these foods. That's the biggest difference I can tell you for me, is that at one point where I felt, it's like everyone else, talk about food noise. Is it any wonder why we got food noise, folks? I mean, how many ads a day do you think you're seeing for shitty foods, addictive shitty foods? You know, I mean, it's never ending. I mean, you see 100 food ads a day, 1,000 food ads a day at this point. Who knows? You know, again, every time you drive by a fast food restaurant, that's another advertisement, another trigger. But we live in this obesogenic environment, which is primarily mental. That's the most important part of it. And you have not learned how to upgrade. You have not learned how to mentally be a thin, healthy person in this environment. And you have to do that. What other solution is there? Do you really think you just don't know what to eat? Do you really think you don't know you shouldn't eat ice cream or cookies? You already know that shit. Think about this. There's times when you make the right food choice, times when you make the wrong food choice. Same you, same genetics, right? Same knowledge about nutrition, same willpower, right? So sometimes you make the good decision, sometimes you make the bad decision. What's the difference? What's the difference? Same you. It's your mindset and it's how you feel, right? Sometimes you're in a good mood, you're kind of focused, you're motivated, you're feeling good. Hey, make a good food decision. Sometimes though, you're having a shitty day. You didn't sleep good last night. You just got to fight with your partner. Your boss yelled at you, and now you're tempted. The fuck it, who cares? I don't give a shit. I don't care. Isn't that at the core of your weight issue? Is it not? Isn't it like when you get the food right in front of you and where you're at in here, up here? So it's not knowing what foods you should eat. And by the way, that's the entire weight loss industry, is people telling you what to do. Is not every single diet, every dietitian, every nutritionist. I'll go against any dietitian on the planet. I would go against I would do a weight competition with any dietitian or nutritionist on the planet, because if you think just being told what you should eat is going to make the difference, you're crazy. You know what I mean? Come on. How much more? Because first of all, you've lost weight before. So you already know how to lose weight, like technically, but you don't know how to live at your goal weight. You never even think of that. All you do is think about what extreme thing can I do to lose weight quickly? That's what you think constantly. And with that mindset, how much weight have you lost in the last year? It ain't working, and it's never going to work. You've got to change how you're thinking, and that changes how you feel. And when you change how you think and you feel, and you have control over that, guess what? Then you can start to change how you behave. But the truth is, you have no idea how to change how you behave, because all you have is willpower. You need more than that. L. Ryan says, is fasting good? Depends what kind of fasting you're talking about. And again, it depends on the person. Some people thrive fasting. It's a minority in my experience, but some people do. But the bigger question, folks, is this. You need to figure out what works for you. There is no one perfect plan. Okay, someone loses 80 pounds, don't get excited how they did it. You know what I mean? You ask them, learn from it, but just because they did it that way doesn't mean it's going to work for you. Fasting is a perfect example. So if we're talking about water fasting, I think that's a waste of time. If we're talking about intermittent fasting, I think I intermittent fast. I like it. You don't need to do 16 hours a day. There's no magic at 16 hours. You could start with 10 hours. You could start with 12 hours. All we're looking to do is reduce the window or extend the window of time where we're not eating. Give your body a break. It's unnatural to be eating all day long. That's an unnatural thing to do, and it overwhelms our body. So I think any break you can give yourself where you're not eating that's comfortable for you and that becomes automatic. Again, I call mine nighttime fasting. That's how I refer to it, because it's not 16 hours. It's the window between when I go to bed and when I stop eating has gotten bigger. So I usually stop eating around 6, 7 o'clock at night. I start eating the next day, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning on average. That's the ballpark. And it works really well for me. I love it. Okay. But I think the intermittent fasting, again, it becomes very rigid. You got to do exactly like this. You got to do it like this. And the rigidness is the number one. The more rigid your plan is, the more likely you're not going to succeed with it. Just, you heard it here. Okay. So intermittent fasting, again, it's good and bad. Everything's good and bad and depends on the person. All right. You are not right on that. Your goal to lose weight is the beginning of a change in your mindset. You're not right on that. Your goal to lose weight is the beginning of a change in your mindset. Yeah, okay, but you know what? I don't know how old you are, but if you're 50 years old and you've tried losing weight fucking 30 years and you've lost weight and put it back on 20 times, and now you're 50 years old, you're like, oh, I gotta lose weight again. No, because that phrase is linked up with failure. So I do not believe that. I think right from the beginning, you've got to start walking a different path. And I suggest you get right the fuck off the weight loss path and get on the weight mastery path if you're serious. So I'll politely agree to disagree with you on that one. I don't think the goal to lose weight is the beginning of a change in your mindset at all. I think that's a solidification of being on the exact same path, having the exact same mindset you've always had. And I think what is the beginning of a new path is saying, I want to master my weight once and for all. I don't give a shit how long it takes. I'm going to master it because this is so important to me. And if I master my weight, not only will I probably live as long as I can, have the best quality of life while I can, but I'm going to start feeling amazing. It would be so amazing to have my weight under control, to not have to think about weight, food, all this shit all the time. I want to be free of it. And it starts today by mastering my weight. I'm going to master it. Weight loss is like going to elementary school. You know what I mean? I'm just being honest. You know, I don't give a shit. Anyone can lose weight. There's a million ways to lose weight quickly. Who gives a shit? Don't you understand why you can't get yourself started? Do you not identify the apathy in you? Do you not identify the apathy that you don't believe anything's going to work long term? So what's the point? Like, if you don't think that that's part of the problem, then I don't know. Then I got a diet to sell you. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Maggie. I appreciate that. Glad you're back again. Clark says, love seeing you. It helps me so much. Thank you. You're welcome. I appreciate you saying that. Yeah. New year again. It was hard. I've been off track with my eating. Oh man, it was so nice today. I had my first salad in like 2 weeks. Oh, my body's like, thank you. Thank you. I felt like shit, but again, there's no problem with feeling like shit. I always say this in the program, we call it utilization. Feeling like shit, eating like crap is not a bad thing if you utilize it, if you learn from it. And so I ate like shit for the last 3 weeks, but I learned from it. It helps keep me on track overall, But I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad you enjoy seeing this. Ryan says, you speak the truth. I have lost weight through the years, but always gain it back. Exactly, right? That's what so if you've lost weight and gained it back multiple times, we've got to address that. Do you not think that that has created some kind of belief in your mind? You know what I mean? Like you've got to, this is the mindset work, folks. Again, and first of all, mindset's important, but no one's really teaching it. I'm dead honest. Someone asked me this yesterday, and I was like, listen, there's Carol Dweck. She's the queen of the mindset, right? She does the growth fixed mindset stuff, which is great stuff. I love it. But how practical is it? In specific instances, that's where I don't find it that practical. Again, I love what she's saying, and I teach it. I think it's a piece of the puzzle. But to me, mindset is a very specific thing, and I think you got to watch out because people say, oh, you got to have the right mindset. But what they really mean is they're just saying you need more willpower. You know what I mean? They're just using it as a synonym for willpower. What I'm talking about with mindset is 6 specific categories. This is why I take people through. We have weight mastery blueprints in the program, and the 6 categories I take you through to create your own blueprint mindset-wise is motivation. Do you know how to motivate yourself? I already know the answer. And you never learned how to motivate yourself. There's a science of motivation. It's just something you learn. Once you know how to do it, you can control your motivation. Wouldn't that be nice? That's the first thing you got to do anyways. You're not even motivated. You don't even know how to motivate yourself. Don't you recognize that as a problem? So once you know how to motivate yourself, everything gets easier. So that's the first step of mindset. The next one is self-image. This whole process is an inside-out transformation of becoming another person. That's what this is. Just because you lose weight doesn't mean you become another person, right? This is why people lose the weight and then put it back on, okay? So with Program Yourself Dim, we're starting with the process that this is about becoming the best version of you possible. It's about identifying yourself differently, changing your self-image. So that's the second component of the mindset. Third one is habits. Do you understand the neuroscience of habits? Do you know what habits are? Because if you don't, then you can't be strategic. If you don't understand habits neuroscientifically, if you don't understand the structure of habits, then you can't be strategic. And then what are you doing? You're just using willpower and trying to change how you're acting. And how's that working out? It's not working out. The next thing is emotions. Do you know how to feel the emotions you want to feel and deal with the shitty emotions you don't want to feel without food? Probably not, right? Because we've been conditioned to use food as our main emotional management strategy. Next is thinking. Literally, the nuts and bolts. How do you think like a thin, healthy person? What questions do you ask? How do you think about food? How do you think about things? Be important to know, right? And then maintenance, finally, right? Because maintenance is the main thing we're doing here. So we start with maintenance. What's the point of doing anything if it's not built for the long term? And that's why, again, there's no faster way to trigger a dieter than while they're losing weight, say, what are you going to do once you lose the weight? Because I have asked that question many times. You know what the response I get is, I don't want to hear, I don't want to talk about that, Jim. When I get there, I'll figure it out. No, you won't. No, you won't figure it out. No one figures it out, apparently. Right? Have you figured it out when you lost the weight? Did you lose the weight and all of a sudden you're just a thin, healthy person from that point forward? That's not what I see. That's not what the numbers say. Okay? So we got to identify what the real problem is, because once you know what the real problem is, then you can find a real solution. And if you're chasing diets, you're 100 miles off the course. You're nowhere close to finding a real solution. And it starts with what you identify as the goal. If you think losing the weight is the finish line, it ain't. You're setting yourself up for disappointment, because you're going to be all focused and motivated, thinking you're going to lose the weight and everything's going to be magical and amazing. Then you're going to get there and realize, oh, it's not all magical and I still have to eat shit. Because you know what most people do? They trade the pleasure of the food for the pleasure of the weight loss, right? The pleasure of the scale going down. But what happens when now the scale's done going down, you got to the goal weight, so there's no more excitement watching that, and now there's no more excitement of the food. What do you do now? How do you motivate yourself? How? That's what I mean. If you don't have an answer for that, what are you going to do? You know, it doesn't magically pop up, clearly. So, yeah, we got to focus on maintenance from the beginning. Yeah, it's not serious about it because it doesn't work. Giving up and accepting this is my body. Yeah, there you go. right? So it's like that. That's what a lot of people are at. I've given up, and this is my body. And again, I'm not shaming anyone. Everyone gets to choose what weight they're going to live at, But I feel bad, and the reason I get out here is because I know you've chosen a weight that you don't want to live at, but you've just accepted it because you feel defeated. You feel like you don't know what to do. You've tried everything, and nothing's worked. But you haven't tried everything. You've tried all the diets. You have to understand the diet industry is full of shit. The diet industry is the food industry. Do you even know that all the diets you're referencing are all diets that are owned by food companies? I know you don't believe me, but Weight Watchers was owned by Heinz. Jenny Craig was owned by Nestle. Atkins Food Products was owned by the same company that owns Onions, Pretzels, and Cinnabon. Slim Fast was owned by the same company that owned Ben & Jerry's ice cream. So do you think that they want to put across these weight loss plans that are so amazing that they're going to get people to stop eating their foods? Does that make any sense to you? Or does it make more sense that they're going to sell you the food, and then when you want to lose weight, they're going to sell you some bullshit diet that doesn't work and keeps you stuck in the loop? Because the truth is that here you are 10, 20, 30, 40 years into trying to lose weight, and you know as little about how to lose weight now as you did before you started your first diet. You really don't know what to do. You don't know how a thin, healthy person thinks. Don't get upset about this, by the way, either, because now at least if you can know what the problem is, then again, you can find the solution. But if you think the problem is that you don't know what to eat, or you don't know what time to eat, or, you don't even like the little details of eating, if you think that's the problem with your weight, it's not. It's not. It's bigger than that. It's your mindset, but you're going to use his results for it. So, by the way, I haven't even said this, but if you're not in my world, first of all, listen, let's follow me, right? Follow me on TikTok because I make videos all the time. They're going to help you out. People say this all the time. I was just about to go buy a pint of ice cream, and I saw your video and I didn't. Woke up, saw your video and it felt amazing. So watch my videos, right? Get them in your feed there. Next thing, though, if you're really serious, is go to my bio, click the link, and get the hypnosis session I give you, and watch the training I give you, 3 steps to master your weight. Okay. And then if you're really serious, you join my program. Okay. I'm running a special this week, 1 week. Hey, it's $1,000. Okay. But it includes coaching. There's 8 weeks of coaching. You get an extra month. All right. So it's 3 months of group coaching where I work with you twice a week. We have calls Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I coach you. And then there's the whole program. And again, you can learn about it at programyourselfthin.com if you want to see about that. But that's how you transform your mindset from the inside out. I think the best way. I refuse to do intermittent fasting, hate it, and not for me. Good job, Debbie, right? So again, is this to say intermittent fasting works or doesn't work? No, it's not that easy. It works for some people, it doesn't work for others. But the people it doesn't work for, stop trying to make yourself do it. So much of weight loss is people trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. You have to build a plan around you. That's such an important piece of it, because once you take the time to create a plan that's built for you, it's way easier to stick with. I sit in front of you as someone who has a plan. Again, in the program, what we go through are the weight mastery blueprints. It's mindset, lifestyle, eating, and we create blueprints for each of those. And so I sit before you as someone who has transformed my mindset, my lifestyle, and my eating. They are 180 degrees different from where I started 30 years ago, 50 pounds heavier. And the difference is I think completely different. I live completely different, and I eat completely different, and I love it, okay? Because I've taken my weight loss and wrapped into personal development. So this isn't about weight loss for me. It's about being the best version of myself that I can be. One aspect of that is being at the weight I'm at, but there's way more to it than that, okay? So again, Program Yourself isn't really a personal development program. It's about becoming the best version of yourself possible, and the primary way we're doing it through this program is by again, fixing your mindset, your lifestyle, and your eating, so you're nourishing the best version of yourself so that you can live as the best version of yourself inside and out. That's the key difference there. Box says, can't depend on the FDA, have to be wired to do the right thing. Yeah, you can't depend on I don't mind the government. Like, I have no problem with government, but yeah, I would not, don't know if I'd trust a lot of stuff coming on the pike. Geez, when it comes to weight loss, you can't trust. It's crazy. I could talk about this. I don't want to get banned. I got a book coming out. I got 2 books, but the book that's coming out probably next year is The Obesity Conspiracy, and we'll talk about that in detail. Yeah. Yep. Laura says, yes, not comparing yourself to others. And that is very smart, because we really don't. We don't want to compare ourselves to others, and we don't want to use other people's strategies exclusively. Okay. Now, Program Yourself Thin is built on the shoulders of people that have successfully lost weight and kept it off for at least 2 years. That's what this program is all about. And that's what makes it unique. It was especially for me. When I began speaking with people that had lost weight and kept it off for a number of years, it was like night and day to realize they think completely different about food, about lifestyle, about health, about themselves. It was night and day. And I realized, oh shit, I'm gonna listen to all these people that are struggling with weight telling me what to do, you know? Or people that are like, here's the other side of it. Again, no hate here, but it's like, you can't be, if you're like 80 pounds overweight, maybe a person like that's all ripped up, like, 5% body fat, abs all over the place, veins and ripped up, again, but that might not be the person for you to learn from. Do you know what I mean? Just saying. And so, again, Program Yourself Thin is really about being who you are. It's about who do you want to be? What's important to you? Let's focus on that. And then let's figure out a way to be that person that really resonates and fits for you. And boy, does that change everything. Because I promise you, you're chasing a lot of goals in the back of your head that you don't even give a shit about. I did this for years. Again, I was at my goal weight, but I'm like, oh, I want a six-pack. I want a six-pack, right? And just randomly, I get hit with the bug all of a sudden. And I never did it, though. And then all of a sudden, like a lightning bolt hit me out of the sky. I was like, because I don't give a shit. I'm a married guy with kids that I have my shirt off 5 hours a year. I don't give a shit. I'm not going to put all that work and have a six-pack. I don't care. What a day. Because it's like, I just don't care about it, And I can promise you, that's what you're doing to some degree, because all weight loss marketing is all built around the before and after picture, which causes you to think about your weight loss superficially. The only thing you're trying to motivate yourself weight loss wise is looking better. And I hate to tell you, but that's not motivating enough for most people. So you need to find a way to find more motivation. Luckily, it's simple to do, but it ain't gonna get through that. What's up, Karen? I went shopping today and bought healthy, yummy food out with the holiday junk. Oh, here, right? I was just saying that. I had oh my God, I had a giant salad for lunch. Oh, folks, if you haven't seen that, I'll put that up on my main page there. I pinned it. But you should watch my salad preparation video because, again, it's easier than you think to put like really good. I call that my living vitamin strategy. It's kind of smoothies or salads are kind of the two main ways. There's other ways, but where it's basically you're looking to get as much nutrient density and variety into your body as possible. And I eat those salads 4 days a week. I think of it like a vitamin. Do I love it? Do I love the taste of it? Nah, I prefer the tuna melt that I had yesterday with chips. But again, when I look at the big picture, yeah, that salad's serving me well. And so it feels so good to be back on that. I love getting back to my routine. I couldn't wait for this week to start. I enjoyed the holidays, no doubt. But that's what I'm trying to say. And that's what a lot of my clients are always saying. And this is what I want you to do is I want you to, like, when it gets, you go off track a little bit, you enjoy yourself, eat some food, drink some wine, whatever you do. And then when it's time to get back on track, you can't wait to get back on track. That's what I'm talking about. Because I know no one is like, can't wait to get back to keto. Can't wait to start intermittent fast. Can't wait to stop sugar. Can't wait to start Weight Watchers again. No one's doing that. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying the quiet part out loud, And so if you can't wait to do it. Now, Karen, 33 million K here is in the program, and so she's excited to get back to the good food and get rid of the bullshit, So again, it's all a mindset thing. It's not what to do. It's how you feel about doing it. I've been plagued with a diet mindset for years. Thank you for sharing a new perspective. You are welcome, Rachel. Again, that's my mission in life, is to help as many people as possible live at their goal weight. And again, it's because to me, it's life and death. My dad died of a heart attack unnecessarily. I think about this every day. It's just, it's not hard to figure out. Like, you could draw a line from him dying to me being here right now talking to you. It's obvious, but it was unnecessary, and so that's why I do this, because to me, it's like, yeah, I want you to look good in a bathing suit. Okay, sure. But I way more want you to be alive so you can spend more time with your family and your friends and doing things you love to do. I way more am interested in you having a great quality of life. That's my real goal, so that's why I get on here every day and do these. And by the way, if you don't know, I have a podcast, Program Yourself Thin. So you can listen. I do live podcasts every single day, every weekday. All right, check them out. Okay, they'll help you out. Cindy says, "Hi, glad to see you live. I'm leaving to do one of your hypnosis videos." All right, good job, Cindy. Yeah, So again, you can watch hypnosis videos on TikTok. They're there, but make sure that you go to my bio and get the full hypnosis session. I give it to you. It's free. It's called The New Thin Me, and it's a weight loss kickstart session. So it's designed to relax you, calm you down, and help you clarify and connect to your ideal self. You know, again, I was having a conversation today about this, that a lot of people, what they do, what you may be doing if you have a diet or mindset, in the back of your mind, you hold your good feelings hostage. You're holding all your good feelings hostage, and you say, once I lose the weight, then I'll feel happy and attractive and confident and sexy and beautiful. Aren't you? Right? You'll hold all your good feelings hostage. I say, fuck that. You know, start feeling those good feelings now, because you can. Believe me, you can. As a hypnotist, that's what I help people do. You can feel whatever emotions you want to feel. Don't you think if you start to feel more confident, more beautiful, more attractive, more healthy, more happy, don't you think if you start to feel those things that it would be easier to eat better? Right? Free those feelings. Use them for your advantage. You got this crazy idea. It's not your fault. It got put in your brain. You didn't realize it happened, right? You didn't realize, oh shit, I have been holding all my good feelings hostage. I don't allow myself to feel any good feelings until I lose the weight. But then I feel so shitty, I can't stop myself from eating shitty food, and I can never get to those good feelings. It's a trap, folks. It's a mindset trap that you've been caught in. But you got to get out of it. The good news is, I always say this, you're in kind of like this mindset jail put there by the diet industry. Good news is they forgot to lock the door. You just open it and walk right the fuck out. You know, start feeling good right now. You listen to that hypnosis session, you'll feel it. Relax and feel good. Feel optimistic, feel hopeful, feel positive. Feels nice. Because once you feel those things, you want to eat better. You want to live better. You want more of that. When you feel like shit, you say, ah, gives a fuck. I'll eat the ice cream. I'll eat the chips. I don't care. I don't care. I feel like shit now. This is the only thing that makes me feel. This is the only high point of my life, man. The best part of my life is the food. You ever thought that? You ever felt that way? So what are you going to do? Feel like complete and total shit, not eat the food for what? 3 months, 6 months, a year until you lose the weight, and then what happens? Magically you wake up, oh, now I can feel, woo! Now I feel amazing. Oh, is that how it worked for you when you lost the weight? Or has it turned out that you have so consistently held your good feelings hostage that you don't even know how to feel them anymore? And even when you lost the weight, you still felt like shit because you don't know how to feel good about yourself anymore. Don't you think that might be part of the problem? What if you started to feel better about yourself right now, today, in 5 minutes? It'd take you about a minute and a half to click through to my bio, to the link, to fill in the 5 questions I give you so I can customize the session for you, and then to listen to the hypnosis. And 5 minutes from now, you'd be like this. Listen to the most positive, encouraging stuff you've heard in years. Feeling positive, encouraging about your weight and your health more than you have in years. Because when it comes to your weight and your health, you feel like shit all the time. And you're always trying to figure it out. Why do I feel like I'm so shitty? Why can't I eat better? To me, it's not a mystery at all. That's what I'm trying to tell you. That's what I try to give. That's what my clients get, is the gift of understanding. Right? You have no idea. Why do I keep eating the wrong shit? What the fuck's wrong with me? I'm successful. I work over here. I'm a great mom. I do all this great stuff over here. I got willpower. I'm focused. I'm motivated. I take action. And then there's my food. What the fuck? I don't get it. I don't understand what's going on. I don't understand it. Right? It just gnaws at you. You mull over it. 24 hours a day, you're mulling over what's wrong with you. Why can't I do this? You know? Program yourself, then you crystal clear. It's crystal clear. You're literally programming yourself to be overweight. You don't realize it because it was installed in you at such a young age. You just take it for granted. You know? So now your default setting is just being overweight. But what you don't realize, it's the thoughts that have been installed into your mind and that you're running automatically now. They're keeping you overweight. And so it's not the existence or non-existence of a diet that's going to be the difference. You know, it's not knowing what I should and shouldn't eat, what times I should and shouldn't eat, what hours of the day I should or shouldn't eat. That is not the main thing controlling your weight. And so it won't be the solution either. Do you see what I mean? It's a mindset thing. And once you get the mindset thing, everything changes. Karen says, I got the salad dressing you use. All right, nice. That's awesome. I will tell you, in full disclosure, I've started making my salads a little differently lately. I don't know what's up. I don't know if I'm so lazy I just don't make the Monday ones, but I've kind of gotten to like cutting them up. You know, there's a price to be paid for that, though, because there's a little bit less nutrients in there. When I made all my salads on Monday, I put more things in them. And when I make them day to day, which I've been doing for probably the last month, I put a couple less things, but I can fix that. Whatever. Sometimes you got to vary things up a little bit, but that's awesome. The salad dressing, that's great. Which dressing are you talking about though? Like, what did I get? Oh, the goddess dressing, that one. Because I get a local Greek one. It is literally made. This is the weirdest story to me, but it's a Greek dressing, and they literally make it like 3 houses down from me. Like, I live in a residential place, right? And there's a place, it's like a little convenience store and a house, but somewhere in that place, they make that salad dressing I eat. So there's no way they're talking about that one. You must be talking about the Annie's goddess dressing. But anyways, yeah, shout out to the golden, what is it? Greek gold, Greek dressing, which I love. I love that. Meal says, if I'm saying that right, how do I keep disciplined for more than 2 weeks? I always get demoted after 2 or so weeks. That's a great question. I'm glad you asked it. So I get this all the time, right? People say, my main problem is consistency. Is that really the main problem? Is consistency the problem, or is it the plan? Okay. So if you have to be super disciplined and really strict and really focused and really motivated to do your plan, I would say the bigger problem is not your willpower, your motivation, your discipline. It's the plan. What a lot of people do, and again, this all comes back to having a short-term mindset of just wanting to lose the weight as quick as possible, so we choose the most intense, extreme way to do it. It's going to get us the fastest results. That's what you've been sold, is fast results. You can't separate weight loss from fast results. You're not motivated by that. But the flip side of that, the flip side of fast results is you have to do an extreme, strict, rigid plan to get those fast results. And to do a strict, rigid plan that's difficult, you need a lot of willpower, a lot of focus, a lot of energy. And what happens for most people, and you're on the long end of it, you know, most people can't make it past a week. Literally, I think it's 57% can't make it past a week on a diet. I never got the day, but I would bet the vast majority of that 57% don't make it past a day or two. Where are you all at? Right here we are, the new year. It's day number 2. This week you were screwed from the beginning though, because what are you going to do? You have to start your diet on a Monday, right? So, oh shit, you couldn't start it yesterday because it's still a holiday technically. I got a little wiggle room right now. What are you going to do? Start on Tuesday, right? So there's a problem there. But yeah, we go into the weight loss plan and we say, okay, I got to do this perfectly. And we're focused, motivated. It takes a lot of our energy. Literally what's going on, it's your prefrontal cortex. Okay, that's the part of your brain we call the conscious mind in hypnosis. But your prefrontal cortex is your planning. It's in charge of your executive functioning, your planning, your strategizing. And so when you go on a strict diet, you're asking a lot of this. You know, it takes a lot of energy. Let me metaphorically change up how I'm explaining this. Let's imagine for a moment that you woke up one day and you said, you know what, from now on, I'm going to brush my teeth with my other hand. I'm going to use my computer mouse with my other hand, and I'm going to use my phone with my other hand. Okay? Now you could do it, right? You know how to do it, but think about that experience, right? Even just brushing your teeth with the other hand, you can do it, but it takes a lot more concentration and thought. It's not something that's hardwired into your nervous system, right? Using your computer mouse, again, you could do it, but it's uncomfortable. It takes more thought and energy. You can't just do it automatically. Right? And then, if you use your phone with the other hand as well, it's weird. You can do it, but it's weird. And it's taking more energy. That's the point I'm trying to make. And so what happens is you can do it for a little while. And eventually, you have to think of your willpower like a muscle. Okay? And it gets depleted. And once it's depleted, what do? Back into automatic mode. And your automatic mode, folks, is being overweight. You have 2 mindsets. You got an overweight mindset and a diet mindset. But your natural automatic mindset is your overweight mindset. Like if you're just living your life, you're not thinking about weight loss, you're not thinking about dieting or whatever else, you're just doing your life, focus on other things, you're overweight. The way you live, the way you eat, all the rest of it, you're overweight. Okay? And you've been conditioned this way. You just run on autopilot as an overweight person. And then you go and try and diet, and now you're trying to use your prefrontal cortex, you're trying to micromanage, right? You're trying to brush your teeth with the other hand, and all of a sudden you get exhausted. So this is why you can do it for a couple days, a couple weeks at most, and then what? You go back to what you always do, you see? So this is why you need a different plan. So to understand this, you have a conscious and a subconscious mind, okay? The conscious part of your mind is your willpower. So you do 2 weeks and you're really focused and motivated, and then you start to wear out that muscle. And what do? You go back to what you always do. And so with Program Yourself Thin, what we're looking to do is to use our conscious mind to reprogram our subconscious mind, to program in new thought patterns, feelings, and behaviors of a thin and healthy person. I sit before you not as someone who, I lost 50 pounds 30 years ago. I have maintained the same weight for 30 years. I had one blip 12 years ago. I've done no dieting, and I've done hardly any working out. What I've done is I have programmed my subconscious mind to think about food differently, to live differently, I have a different lifestyle, and to think differently about food, my health, all the rest of it. And so my autopilot now is a thin and healthy autopilot. I don't have to worry about what I'm eating. I mean, I do a little bit. I don't want to make it sound like I'm there driving the ship, but most of it's being done on autopilot. Kind of like when you brush your teeth, right? It's like, it's not to say that you aren't aware you're doing it, but it's mostly this automated behavior. You see, that's your subconscious mind. And so all of your eating behaviors are automated, folks. You go into a restaurant, you eat a certain way, right? You go home at night, you sit on the sofa, you eat a certain way. You eat your dinner, you eat a certain way. You want certain foods, you eat certain foods, you eat a certain way. And that's making you weigh what you weigh. So that's what needs to change. This idea that you're going to micromanage all your food decisions is crazy. It's crazy because your brain's not built that way. Because again, if you try brushing your teeth using your computer mouse and your phone with the other hand, you could do it, but you're going to be grumpy, you're going to be frustrated, and you're going to very quickly go back to using the hand you always use because it's just on autopilot. It takes less energy. And the main goal of your mind is designed to conserve energy. So you're not going to keep doing things that are difficult and taxing mentally long term. You're not going to do it. So again, the alternative is we reprogram our subconscious mind to become a thin and healthy person. And so it's a longer term process, but who gives a shit because you want to be thin and healthy for the rest of your life? Which, by the way, this is how you know you're in trouble. Because if I ask you how long you want to keep the weight off for, right? I know you want to lose weight, and then how long do you want to keep it off for? Right? I can hear you saying forever, okay? So you're telling me you want to diet forever? No. Do you see? You see that? Do you get that feeling, right? You don't want to diet forever, but you want the weight to be off forever. How are you going to do it? With the way you don't want to do? The way you hate? Which, by the way, if you're wondering why you can't lose weight, do you think it might have anything to do with the fact that you hate all the ways that you know about losing weight? Like, you want to lose weight, but you don't want to do the keto thing. You want to lose weight, but you don't want to intermittent fast. You want to lose weight, but you don't want to cut sugar out of your life completely. You know? So it's basically your idea of weight loss is you forcing yourself to do something you don't want to do. That's how you subconsciously think about weight loss. And that is why you're not losing weight, or if you are losing weight, you're not keeping it off long term. Hope that makes sense. Sebastian says fasting. Meg says, I eat really fast. Yeah, Meg, right? There you go. There's a great example of an automated behavior that's directly impacting your weight. You know what I mean? Like how quickly you eat. That's a perfect example because go slow to your eating down. Just eat slower, Meg. Just eat slower, right? You're probably laughing when I say that, right? Because it's like saying that sounds really easy, which brings me back to my main points here, that you have a ton of conceptual knowledge about how to lose weight. You're up to here with conceptual knowledge about what you should do to lose weight. You know what you should do. If you were a robot and you just typed in what to eat all day and what to do to lose weight, and then you just did it because you were a robot, you'd have no problem losing weight. The problem isn't knowing what to do. The problem is you have very little behavioral knowledge of how to change your behaviors, right? And so eating fast is one of these great ones where it's like, yeah, I got to slow down my eating. Okay, let me know how that goes. Let me know, because I already know how it's going to go. But I'm glad you said that, because this really highlights the point that the problem is not knowing what to do. Again, every diet out there is telling you what to do. The problem is you never learn how to get yourself to do it. You don't know how to eat slower consistently. Yeah, if you could do it for 2 minutes if you're really motivated and focused and remember. But the problem is you eat multiple times a day and you forget. And then you go back to autopilot. Blah, 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 blah. So how do you change that? The truth is you have no idea. And I do. Just to be, I'm not being a dick, but it's like, it's just that's what, I'm different. I come at this differently. It's true. I'm not saying I'm the only one in the world that comes at it this way, but I'm one of the very few in the world that comes at it this way. Because every diet person is just telling you what you should do. And then you hear what you should do, and then you can't do it because you don't know how to change your behaviors. And then what do? You get in a constant conversation about what's wrong with me. How come I can't eat slower? Why can't I eat slower? Why do I keep eating so fast? Why do I keep eating so fast? When did this start? Why do I keep eating fast? Right? But never do you actually practice eating slower. Never do you get good at that skill. You don't even have the first idea how to do it. You know, this is like, so that's what I'm trying to say. Almost all your eating behaviors are automated, just like the speed of your eating is automated. Go ahead and try and change it. Again, it's like trying to brush your teeth with the other hand. Could you do it? Yeah. Do you want to do it? Absolutely not. And once you try doing it, you'll realize how frustrated, annoyed, and upset you get. You'll see it firsthand. And then you'll come face to face with the real challenge here is with your weight. It's not knowing what you should and shouldn't eat. It's not having the right diet. It's the fact that you've no idea how to change your behaviors. Kelly Redding, therapist, a lot of really good points. Thank you. Appreciate you saying that. Yeah, the therapists always know, right? They get what I'm saying. Astrid says, Jim, see you tonight in the Netherlands. It's midnight, so I hope to be awake. Oh, my goodness, midnight. All right. Yeah, I know. Yeah, well, Astrid, I have to say, I see what, when you say you want to continue the program, I gotta see exactly what you mean. But if you mean the Thrive program, there's also Wednesday calls too, and those are at 3, your normal time. Meg says, right. Yep. Kathleen, good point. Me too, Meg. I joke that I eat like a starving junkyard dog, LOL. Yeah, that's what I mean. So, listen, everything's like this, folks. I'm glad you brought this up, though, because this is like a real succinct example of what I'm talking about. Because your weight is a accumulation of a bunch of things like that. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, oh, yeah, I eat fast. Okay, so just stop eating so fast. Do you know what I mean? That's the diet industry. I always joke, dieting is like just say no to drugs. Remember Just Say No? That whole bullshit back in the 80s, right? Where it's like, Nancy Reagan, I just say no. And it's like, oh, really? Is that all we need to do? Just say no? Oh. I mean, but it's such a superficial strategy. You know what I mean? Come on, stop it. You know what I mean? And so it's so stupid. But isn't that what a diet is? Isn't a diet just say no to food? Just say no to food for 16 hours. Just say no to carbs. Just say no to sugar. Just say no to, all the calories except for 1,200 of them. Bullshit. Good luck. You know what I mean? Again, it makes me insane because just like a minimum level of hypnotic understanding lets you realize that ain't going to help you. Like Kelly and Meg, have you just found out they eat fast? Did you just find that out yesterday? Oh, that's why. No, you've known you eat fast for a long time. And what's your ability to change it, though? Do you know what I mean? And what's your strategy? Your strategy is, I've got to remember to eat slower. How's that working out? Because we're not conscious creatures, folks. We live our lives on autopilot. We're subconscious creatures. You have a conscious and a subconscious mind. The conscious part of your mind is the logical, rational part of your brain. This is the part of your brain that knows why you should lose weight, what you should do to lose weight, and tries to get you to do it. That's where your willpower is. And then you have your subconscious mind, which is where all your habitual thoughts, feelings, and behaviors are at. Okay? And so it's like this is the part you got to focus on if you want to create long-term changes. Your conscious mind is your prefrontal cortex. It's the newest part of your brain evolutionarily. It's not up to the task. You're not a conscious creature. If you were primarily a conscious creature, none of us would have weight issues because you would just do what you know is right to do. How do you explain shit? Even eating fast, I know this because you could start a meal. I could give you a phone call and say, hey, Meg, remember, eat slow. Oh, yeah, right. I was going to eat slow today, right? Then you'd start, you know what I mean? You'd be like, yeah, I'm going to eat slow. And then like 2 seconds later, you turn this way and you come back, nom, nom. You know what I mean? Like, because that's your automated habit. So again, I'm kind of joking with y'all, but it's like that all of your automated habits combined are creating your weight, basically. And the truth is you don't know how to change your behaviors. You have no strategy for it. You've got a willpower-based strategy, which requires that you're consciously just focused, motivated, on track. But you're not, because you're a human being living a life in 2024. So there's constant bullshit going off, distracting you. You know what I mean? Like there's all these things that's dragging your prefrontal cortex away. And then what's running the show? Your subconscious mind, which is going to do what it always does. A shovel of food in my mouth. That's what I do. So my best friend and I both eat fast and try to put our forks down. Rarely works. Yeah, exactly. LOL. So it's like, yeah. So why is that, right? Because you go and now you have an association when it's time to eat, you eat fast. That's the association you have. So how do you change that? Well, you need to practice. And it's not, listen, you have to think about your behaviors as a chain reaction. This is really important because if you just think, oh, I'm just going to eat slower, what are you thinking? Like, where do you think that behavior is generated from? You know, it's a complete chain reaction behavior. So you're not just eating fast, right? You're not like this. You're not like, meditating before the meal, centering, connecting to my breath. I'm calm, I'm relaxed, I'm at peace. Time to start eating. Like, that's not what's happening. Do you see what I mean? What's happening is time to eat. And you're all fired up, you're stressed, you're anxious, you're excited, whatever. And it's like, it's the behavior sits on top of the state that you're in. Okay? So the behavior flows out of the state that you're in. So it's not just that you're eating fast, because what you're trying to do is you're trying to be stressed, anxious, tense, and then eat slowly. And that's just the same thing as what I just showed you. If you centered yourself and calm yourself down, you're going to eat slower naturally. You know, now you'll speed up and go back in your normal rate in the beginning of practicing this. But what you're trying to do is your state is the same. It's stressed, anxious, tired, overwhelmed. And then you're trying to slow down your eating on top of that state. And that ain't going to work. You need a congruent behavior and state. And then you take that state and you anchor it to the different places you eat. But yeah, Kelly said that's a great question, right? How long does it take to reprogram the subconscious? To be honest, you know, the last thing I'll ever do is bullshit you all, you know, so I always want to make that clear. Some things are quick, some things are slow. That's just the truth of it. I will tell you things that I've been surprised take longer for me personally. Sleeping, getting my water habit down, not eating at night, those are kind of like the three that are popping my head habitually. It took longer than I imagined. Sleeping's one of them. Sleeping, by the way, what time you go to bed is just like the eating fast, you know? So I was like, I have a program, Sleep at Will, you know, so I do a lot with sleeping. But yeah, so I'm going to start going to bed earlier. Yeah, let me know how that's going next week, you know? Because when you go to sleep is a very subconscious behavior. It's you go to sleep based on different environmental cues that you're unaware of, okay? You have a sense of what time it is. You go to bed at the same time. You want to go to bed earlier, but you keep going to bed later than you want to. How's that possible, right? Consciously, you know all the reasons in the world you want to go to bed, but you keep going to bed later than you want to. I want to eat slower. I really want to eat slower. It's going to be so much better. I'll lose weight. I'll feel better. Everything's magical when I eat slower, and you never do it, right? So again, you have to look at where's that behavior being generated from then. It's not conscious, because consciously I want to eat slower. I want to go to bed earlier. I want to drink more water. I want to be more relaxed. You know, all these things you want to do are not being driven by the same part of your brain, you know, and so they communicate very differently. So to take it a step further, your subconscious is not logical and rational like your conscious mind is. If it was, it'd be so simple, right? Because we would just do the things we knew were good for us. But the subconscious mind has a different kind of logic. And it's more about what satisfies our needs, you know, and what do we just do? You know, some of it's just pure training. And so the classic for the eating fast is, you know, you go to school and you get 15 minutes to eat, you know, and so a lot of times people are in situations where they were trained to eat fast, you know, and now it's hardwired into them. So how do you change that? Well, again, I look at it like, you may not like this, but again, I'm not here to bullshit you guys. But I think a great example of this is like if you want to learn to write with the other hand, right? So everyone here is an expert in writing. Conceptual knowledge. Let's go back to the conceptual behavior and knowledge concept. And so conceptually, you know everything there is to know about writing. You know how to write all the letters. You know how to write sentences, string them together. You know how to write a bunch of words, right? But behaviorally, you only know how to do it with one hand, right? And so if you want to write with the other hand, you don't need to get a book about how to write with my left hand, right? You don't need more conceptual knowledge. You need more behavioral knowledge. So how long would it take for you to get good at writing with the other hand? I don't know, right? Depends on how much you practice, how you practice it, how motivated you are, right? There's a lot of different factors. But that's the process like if we talk about writing with the other hand, you internalize that process much more accurately because you know how to write with the other hand. And if you want to learn to write with the other hand, you would know a book's not going to do shit for me. A book's not going to help me. See, that's what I want you to feel about weight loss. I want you to be like, a fucking diet? Like a diet book? How's that going to help me? That's not what I need. What I need to do is I need to practice the behaviors of a thin, healthy person. Does that make sense? And you're way more clear. So if it gets to writing with the other hand, again, a book, I don't need a book. I just need to sit down and practice with this hand. And eventually this hand will learn how to write, how to do it. Now, as soon as I say it this way, now you come face to face with the real enemy, or the real challenge, I should say, which is your impatience. You say, oh shit, learn how to write my other hand. That's gonna take too long. Nah, I don't think so. Let me look at the new diet that just started, you know? So again, why do you do that? Because we avoid hard work. We just do. Again, our brain conserves energy. So the idea of like learning to write with the other hand, it's kind of frustrating and hard, you know? So we don't want to do it. We'd rather learn about more diets. We'd rather learn about more nutritional facts, you know, instead of just putting the work in to create the behaviors and the feelings and the thoughts that are going to serve us. But once you take that path of actually doing the work, you set yourself up to automatically, again, I'll say for you two, Kelly and Meg, but all of a sudden, imagine if you just naturally ate slower. So like without thinking about it, but when all of a sudden it got time to eat, you naturally ate slower, less eating per minute. If you cut your eating down, eating per hour or whatever, eating per hour. If you cut that in half, right, you're going to lose weight. Do you see what I'm saying? So is it worth that effort? Right? Is it worth a month, 2 months of training yourself to eat slowly, naturally, automatically when you eat? Because now for the rest of your life, you eat slowly. Do you see what I'm saying? If you can get your head around what I'm saying here, this is an example of what I'm talking about. That if you start getting strategic with your weight loss, again, just let's talk about habits, right? Because what do most people do? Diet, day one, I'm going to change everything, right? I'm going to change all my eating completely. I'm going to change absolutely everything so I lose the weight quickly. I'm impatient. I want fast results, okay? And so now you can't be strategic. You're going to change everything? No, you're not. You're going to change everything for a couple days, maybe a couple weeks, you know? And then it's going to be back to what you always do. Whereas if we start, what I always say is the worst and first strategy. Pick your worst eating habit and your first eating habit of the day. The worst eating habit, you work on making it better. You ain't just going to make it better tomorrow, by the way. You need to figure out a strategy. So let's just take the fast eating. You're not just going to stop yourself and start eating slow tomorrow. No, you're not. You need to set up strategic reminders to train yourself to eat slower. I'll give you an example. I had a client one time, she would take a snow globe and she'd put it in front of her dinner plate. And so every time she sat down at dinner, again, it's not the fast eating, you understand? It's the fast brain. It's the stressed, anxious body. That's the problem. So we looked deeper and she would take the snow globe, she'd flip it over, put it down, and she'd while the snow globe was dropping, she would take a moment and let go of the day, calm herself down, relax, become more peaceful. Right? Now we do, in Program Yourself Then, we have a redo rehearsal technique where you install eating slower into your nervous system. Let's put it that way. But what happens is you train yourself that when I eat, it's not just eating slow, it's being a different version of yourself. It's eating as the thin, healthy version of yourself. One aspect as you eat slower. You eat more mindfully. I hope some of that makes sense, because that really does get to the heart of what we're talking about here. Zeta says, this is a random question, but are you a voice actor? No, but I'd love to be a voice actor. That seems like a job of the century, huh? But I am a hypnotist. So yes, there's a lot of work done on how I am speaking to you. Okay, so I want you to know, and I'm not trying to hide this, that when I am speaking to you, I am not just giving you information. I am looking to frame things in a way that impacts your subconscious mind. I am speaking in a way that makes my ideas more receptive and you less reactive to them. So yes, there is that work being done as well, and I hope it's helping you out. So my form of hypnosis that I use is called conversational hypnosis, is the main form I use. It's kind of an Ericksonian hypnosis. That's the primary thing I do. I don't do a lot of like trance work, deep trance work with people. I use more conversational hypnotic methods, And so this kind of works out perfect because for years I did a lot of trainings, and the trainings were very specifically designed to be hypnotic in nature. Now I do hypnosis sessions too, as well, straight up hypnosis. But the majority of my work, I can't say the majority, but a lot of my work really is just more the speaking piece of it. And yeah, I speak in a weird way, but it's intentional. It's helpful. But yeah, if you know anyone looking for voice actors, that would be a fun thing to do. I always see that. I'm like, man, these guys, they just go in the studio and that's got to be, I don't know if they get paid like regular actors do, but it's got to be a lot easier, right? But that's the stuff. But yes, I am speaking in a specific way to make things better. But by the way, so again, I got to get out of here in a minute here. But if you have not yet go to my bio, click the link, get the hypnosis session I give you. Okay. Kelly says she likes that, right? So yeah, of course you like that, and so the session will help you relax. What I do I try to make everything, Paula says, is your podcast different than TikTok? No, it's the same thing, Paula. At this point, I'm thinking about changing it up a little bit, but at this moment in time, I usually get on here. I usually do lives at like noon Eastern, and I do them on TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. I stream them all at the same time, and then I take the audio of it and I put that up as the podcast. And so that's kind of the plan now. So yeah, the podcast is these. Just kind of going back and forth with people talking about stuff. But at some point, I had a couple different ideas of how to do things. But for right now, they're the same, so I was leaving them that way. But back to you, Kelly. So again, it's not just about eating slower. It's about being slower while you're eating, if that makes sense, right? Being slower, right? Eating slower is superficial, sort of, right? You're not thinking about what's going on here. You're just thinking about, I'm just going to eat slower. Now that you realize this, you realize, oh, that's not going to work. If I'm kind of tense and stressed and overwhelmed, how am I going to eat slow? That's not going to work. So now you've internalized it more. So from eating slow to being slower. And now you've got a better sense of what needs to change. So now you're already further along, and it's just practicing it. And very quickly what you'll find is that it feels a lot nicer to eat slower. It feels nicer to eat as a slower version of yourself. It just feels nicer. And I think it's better for you too. I mean, just as anecdotal, but when we're stressed out and really fast, we don't chew as much. We don't allow, the stomach acids and the different systems of our body to digest the food as efficiently. And it's just not as comfortable. We definitely eat more, and there's that whole thing. So yeah, when you slow down, that's what you're really looking for, is be more slow, more centered, more peaceful, more calm, more relaxed, So that's what we're looking to do. And so in Program Yourself In, for example, that's why a big part of the program, I deliver the program through your phone. There's a website too, like a membership site, but I do it through the phone because I know you're going to wake up in the morning and look at your phone. And when you do, you're going to see a message from me. You're going to click that message, and it's going to bring you to a 5-minute hypnosis session. So every morning for 8 weeks, you get a 5-minute hypnosis session. Each one's different, right? Each one's got a different weight loss mantra in it to program your subconscious mind. But what's happening is multiple things, and so the hypnosis sessions, the first most valuable thing, in my opinion, is that it starts to relax you and calm you down. You start to bring your awareness inside, you relax your muscles. You do it right now. Right? Don't just listen to this, experience it. Bring your attention into your posture, right? Align your posture. Don't have a ramrod straight, but just straighter. Align yourself so that you can relax properly. If we're slouched over, we can't relax properly because things are out of alignment, right? So align yourself, relax the muscles in your shoulders, your chest, your stomach, your neck, your jaw, your face. And if you're watching this, your eyes actually have a huge impact on how you feel. So if you relax those eyes and just let those muscles go, I'll show you a quick little one too for your eyes. This is kind of like the for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction method. But if you close your eyes and scrunch them tight, scrunch, crunch, 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 and then let them go. That's one of the most wonderful feelings in the world. And of course, you can do it with every muscle in your body. You can tighten all the muscles in your body up. Tight, 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 tight. Oh. Whew. Playing with contrast is really important, okay? But then you start to relax. And if you start to relax, you align yourself, you relax the muscles, and you begin to breathe more fully. Ideally through your nose and out through your nose. What happens is you start to feel like a better version of yourself, right? So when you're doing the hypnosis sessions, this is how we start every session. Always the same way. Hypnosis isn't, you're not going to cluck like a dumb chicken. It's just stupid. Hypnosis was medical at one point, folks. You know what I mean? Before there was chemical anesthesia, the main anesthesia was hypnosis. Hypnosis was taught in medical school. That's what it was used for, okay? So I'm not saying it's better than anesthesia necessarily, but what I'm saying is, I don't know, hypnosis all of a sudden became this goofy thing. Which, I get it. I get it. The stage stuff makes it seem goofy. But hypnosis is extremely powerful concept, skill set, whatever you want to call it. I think it's really important to understand hypnosis. Because anyways, what we're doing is we're relaxing our body. We're changing our being. We're becoming a more relaxed, calm version of ourselves. And then you listen to the session, and you're hearing all this positive stuff, encouraging positive things about your weight, your health, your happiness. And my question to you is, where are you getting positive suggestions about your weight and your health consistently? Where? Nowhere. So again, your brain's like a sponge, and it just wants these things. It wants to hear nice things about itself. It wants to be real optimistic, hopeful. It wants to learn good strategies. This is what your brain and body want. You don't know this because you've never even got the opportunity. You've never been in a situation where you're consistently getting positive reinforcement over 8 weeks. You know, like, so again, you know, it's a bite-sized piece. You know, 5 minutes isn't a big deal. You know, you start your day with that, and it feels nice, and you get addicted to it. You know, you look forward to it. That's what I'm trying to say. Imagine a weight loss plan that you actually look forward to. It's an important piece of the puzzle. You know, and then you get all the positive suggestions in your head. So that's one part of the program. And then again, there's the technique where you learn how to run your own mind. Diana, I see you, and I restarted you yesterday, and now I'm freaking getting annoyed because my email service, someone else was saying, I could have sworn they signed up yesterday. Should have got the thing. So I'm going to double check those things in 2 minutes. But Diana, I reset yours today, and that should mean that you would have got it today in your email. So check your email anyways and see if it's in there, because I did reset it yesterday. Scotland, all right. Bramley apples. I love apples. Is that like an orchard out there or something? I got a little apple. Maybe you got an answer to this. I have a place around me, like an orchard, and I usually get like, I don't know what they're called, like big box stores, like BJ's or Sam's Club or Costco's. I got a BJ's. And so I usually get their apples. I get Gala apples, like them. And they're solid. You know, you get a big bag of them. They last a while. Everything's good, right? Organic, great. But then there's an orchard near me, and they have these apples called Honeycrisps. And I love Honeycrisp apples. But the orchard has them, and they're literally, they're this big. They're too big. I love them, but they're just ridiculous, you know? And so, because first of all, I bought a bag of them, and it's like there's 5 apples in the bag. And I got to be buying apples every day, every week. Bramley Apples didn't know you could get this question right away. I don't know if you got the answer. I don't even know if you have anything to do with apples. And so then I got this other bag of apples, and Mohammed says, do you know your audio on mute all this time? I didn't know that. I doubted that, but could be. I got these other Honeycrisp apples, and now they're little and they don't taste like Honeycrisp apples. I don't know what my question is. I guess I'm just thinking out loud. I'm in a little apple emergency here because I've been eating Gala apples for years, and I love them. But then, Muhammad, that might be you, but that could be YouTube too. But I'll find out for sure. Oh, you wouldn't even hear me anyways, Muhammad. I'm gonna try and type a message. I use this program called Restream to stream to all the places I was talking about. I don't know. Technology. Let's try this. Anyways. Nope, just an awesome type of apple. Oh, all right. A Bramley apple. I'll have my eyes looking for that because I love apples. So I will say one thing. There's another place, and they got wiped out. They had a bad year because there was flooding and rains and all that stuff. But usually they're going strong, and they have like heirloom apples. And if you've never gotten into that, that is a pretty fun thing because there's a million types of apples. And so I love going there and eating different types of apples. But yeah, the Bramley apple I'm going to look for. So I'll check that out. Yeah, someone's saying the YouTube channel I'm streaming to is no volume. Oh, the pink ladies. Yep, I like the pink ladies. Yeah, that's weird. All right, gotta get out of here, everyone. So if you're not in my world again, go to my bio, click the link, get the hypnosis session, watch the training I give you, listen to the podcast. It's Program Yourself In. It's on all the major platforms. And yeah, thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate it. Awesome questions today. And look for me on TikTok. Make sure you follow me. If you don't follow me, I find a lot of people that are listening to lives aren't following me. Follow me, because you never know when you get my videos might pop at just the right time and help you out. So thanks so much, everyone. Have a super day, and we'll talk soon. Bye.